Hey everyone, so today we're making what's called a pocket slider. It's fairly simple, there's a lot of steps to it though, and it's just something that you can have a character move back and forth in a scene that kind of opens up so something goes inside. And the beauty of this is it's all made out of paper. So the inside is basically a simple slider, and it's cut out of a single sheet of paper. So let's begin. The first thing you need to do, I'm going to move this off to the side here. First thing you need to do is any type of paper you want. You can do green or pink or red or white. It doesn't really matter. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold your in half. Okay, you're going to fold it in half that way, horizontally. Or vertically, sorry, you're going to fold it in half vertically, and no, horizontally. Anyway, fold it this way, okay, and then you're going to cut it in half, and that's really what you need. So you can get a couple out of one sheet of paper, which is nice. And then for this one, you're going to fold it not in half. You're going to leave a little space because, as you can see in this one, the scene, like this water scene, is maybe a third down or 2/3 up from the bottom. So I'm just going to maybe go like that. And there we go. And I have about that much space up there. And it can vary, it doesn't matter. You can always adjust it after, because you can always cut some of the pieces off, which is simple to do. And you have a fold. Now the next one is just a little tricky, because you want the next side, you want it to be halfway. And so what I do is I take this flap right here, and I'm going to flip it over. And so if you can see, I have that flap there on this side. I'm going to make a little mark where that flap is on this side, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay, like this. And now what I want to do is go in the middle. I want to go halfway, because when I make my slider, I want the slider to kind of be halfway on here. Okay, or you can measure from here to here and then draw a line halfway. You can do that too. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so get my ruler out, and we'll see. And this doesn't have to be exact. It can be approximately. So this is approximately 9 centimeters, so we're going with 4.5 there, and that'll work just fine. 4.5, there we are, and I'm going to draw a line straight across like this. And now we have to decide on our cut. And I think what you need to do is make the cut about a centimeter wide. Seems to be the right size. So from this line, I'm just going to make sort of a half a centimeter, because I want this to be a centimeter wide that I'm going to make. Alright, here and here. Now, we have to decide if we're going to pull on the piece on the right side, or if we're going to pull on the piece on the left side. I'm right-handed, I'm going to do it on this side. So that means I'm going to cut from this end in, right? I'm going to cut from this end. So if I flip it over, I'm cutting from here. So I want to stop up there somewhere. So if I go like this, I draw my lines all the way across. It's just easier that way. And then I want to stop. This is where my stop is going to be. Okay, somewhere over here, because when I slide it back and forth, it's going to stop there, right? And then I can go back and go back. And I think maybe I can cut to there. That should be fine. I think so. So now you are going to do a cut. And it's going this way. Okay. And it feels like you're going to cut it in half, but you're not. I'm going to go up to there. And then we're just going to cut that piece off. And we're not going to use that again. So now when I open it, this is what I have. I have a cut right here that's kind of halfway along this flap. right? And if you're off a little, that's fine, because it can be up a little higher or a little lower. It won't really matter. So now I need a piece of paper. I'm just going to use a piece of plain paper, because I have lots. And your piece is going to be the same width. Okay, so it's going to be the same width of your piece of paper that you have. So when you slide it, you want to have a little piece sticking out that you can hang on to, and I don't know why that's glued there. And you want this piece to be double the width of this. Okay, and I'm going to measure. You can do it by eye if you want, but I like to measure. So if this is 1 centimeter, this is going to be 2 centimeters. Right, so I'm just going to make a quick measure and a quick line like this, and I'm going to cut it like this. Okay, and this is going to be our slider. This is going to be the slider that goes back and forth in this. Now, we need something to hold it in place. Okay, and this is the trick to it. What you do on one end is, let's say we can make it just about maybe 1 centimeter. It can be a little longer, it doesn't matter. And you make a little cut, about 1/2 centimeter in that way, and maybe 1/2 centimeter in that way, right? And so now what you see is it goes like this. Right, I'll show it to you like this too. See how these pieces come up like that? Okay. And if you kind of put them a little like that, and slide one in that way, one in that way. It's a little hard because it's flimsy right now. We're going to straighten it up. And then you can actually slide this back and forth like this. Pretty cool, eh? Yeah, it's kind of neat. And then it actually slides a little farther, like this, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to try to kind of stir it up a little bit here. So what we need to do first, and I have to remember it is paper, so sometimes it's a little flimsy to work with. I'm going to move this out a little bit so I have a little more room. There we go. So I need to glue a piece from here to here to hold this paper together. And it's just a small piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this paper, cut it in half, and then I just need a little one like this. And I'm going to put it across, and I'm going to glue it on. Okay, but you have to make sure that don't go beyond this edge, right? And I'm using just plain paper so it's easier to see what we're doing, and it's all pretty much hidden anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so now I'm going to my glue stick out. Here we go. And I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna put just a piece of glue on one edge and another piece of glue on another edge like this, because really all this is meant to do is hold these two pieces together now. Not there. And the idea is to glue on the edges, not the middle, because if it's in the middle it'll hold that paper and it won't work. Okay, and now if I take this, it slides pretty good. So now we may want to just push this up a little bit as well, just so it kind of stays away from there. Now what we want to do is turn it over, the whole thing, right? And this is the back side of what it looks like. Okay, and now what you can do is, I think this is the best way to do it, and I've been experimenting with it, is to put a piece all the way across to here, right? One piece of paper, so it holds the whole thing in. And for that, you can use a piece almost the length of your piece of paper, right? I think that actually that's probably pretty good. And you'll put it on top like this, so it holds that whole slider in place, right, from the back side. And I'm going to, I think, just put I'm going to put some glue on the edge of this. And normally I would put it down on the ground, but or on a table, but I don't have a lot of space right here, so I'm going to put it on the edge, right? And you have to leave one edge open, right? Because that's where your slider handles. And I'm just kind of going around what I think is right. So I'm putting it over top and making sure that I don't have any glue on the slider because it has to slide. Right? And this will actually hold it nicely in a little pocket. So when I slide it, it doesn't move as much. It does move, but not as much as it could. Okay, so that actually slides really well. That's nice. And now you have to decide what your lower scene is going to be. And mine, I just did some waves, and cut it really simple. So I'm going to do the same thing, and it's best to do it now. All right. So I'm just gonna make it round. I'm just gonna keep it simple. All right, and you can do anything. You can do grass. You can make it kind of frilly in terms of cutting little for grass and curl it with your scissors. You can do any kind of a scene really that you want, and it's entirely up to you. So there's my scene. Now I need to. I'm going to make just a tiny little mark with my pencil where one of my waves are. And the reason I'm doing that is it'll tell me how far I need to make my holder. And here's just a spare piece that I can use, and that's going to work. And this is going to be glued on the wide piece. Okay, so I'm going to move it over. This one is your holder for whatever character you have, and it's going to glue onto this slider piece. Okay, and I'm going to make it a little skinnier because I don't want it too big. I don't want to get glue on my slider. So that's going to glue on like that, and I'm only going to put glue on this little bit at the bottom. Alright, just put a little bit of glue on it because it should hold fairly well. And I put it on like that. And here it is moving back and forth. Right? And if you look up, there it is moving back and forth. It looks almost like a submarine now. That's kind of cool. You could actually do that too. You can make a little thing on here and it'll be a little submarine kind of looking back and forth. That's neat. And so now I've already cut my fish out. It's not a great fish, but it's okay. And now if I put it on, you can see that I want to go a little farther down. I want to make like in the water a bit. So what I have to do is make a little mark on my holder, and I'm going to cut it there. And since it's all paper, it's really easy to work with. So I go kind of like that. There we go. And now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this part. Alright, because then if I just put it on here, then I know where the glue is going. If I put it on my fish, then I might actually glue the fish to this piece of paper, and I don't want to do that. So I'll put it this way, measure it the right way. And that's probably pretty good. And there we have our fish in the water. Alright, it could be down a little farther. Alright, go like this. And now you can decide if you want. Now here's the thing, is you want to maybe try to have it out a little bit so that your fish has room to swim around in. Right? Doesn't have to be right up against it. It can be just like this. Slides back and forth. There we go. And then you can decide if you want to close these off, or maybe put little pieces of tape on it so that you can always open it back up and you can change it. Right? You can always put something else in, and you can always try to glue something on here, but if you do, then you have to remember when it moves over, it's going to stop. Right? So everything you glue, you want to glue it on this part. So you can actually glue something maybe this way too, and glue another one this way and have three fish swimming back and forth, although you might have one swimming off the page. I don't know if you want to do that or not. Right, so there you go. My fish is kind of wanting to come out of the water, so I'm just going to bend it back a little. There we go. That'll work. There. So there we go. Back and forth. Nice little pocket slider. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and have fun making your whatever character you decide to make on it. Thanks.